don't be afraid to ask for help.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you're going to need it.
Yeah.
You really do. You need the support system around you to make it as less challenging as possible, because it is going to be challenging and you are going to need the help. So you need to ask for it, because otherwise people aren't going to know. They're not going to know unless you say, hey, can you do me up a week's worth of meals because I have a week's worth of appointments.
Hi everyone, I'm Claudia and welcome to the Build Now podcast. We're here sharing powerful stories of families and kids facing incredible challenges, giving you the chance to meet the amazing individuals you're supporting and hear their stories firsthand. In each episode, we'll have heartfelt conversations, discussing real and raw experiences and showing you the true impact of your generosity. Our goal is really simple here: to inspire hope, raise awareness, and keep building a brighter future for all those kids that need it most. So today we're here with Sharnee. Sharnee, thank you so much for joining us here today and being willing to tell us your story. We really appreciate it. We're so grateful. We originally met through, the Build Now Foundation, and I met your little girl, Charlee, when we did the reveal. We built her a beautiful new outdoor kitchen, which I know she's still loving.
Yes, she is.
She is, yeah. Could you maybe give us our listeners, a bit of an insight to the history of your situation, a little bit about what you've gone through, a little bit about Charlee, and the background of sort of her condition?
Yep. So Charlee was born, beautiful, 7-pound, healthy little girl in Kalgoorlie. Where we lived, both Blake and I were born in Kalgoorlie. It was our hometown. And then just before her second birthday, she lost her mobility. We went to numerous doctor's appointments and hospital ED visits to try and figure out what was going on with her. It took us a little while and the right paediatric doctor to come on board to have a look and diagnose her with either a brain infection or a brain tumour. We were flown out within, I think it was like 2 hours via RFDS, straight to PMH at that time.
Wow. And this was all before she was 2 years old, at 2?
Yeah, it was 2.5 weeks before her second birthday.
Wow.
Yeah. And then once we got to the Children's Hospital, she had her MRI, and I can remember one of the doctors literally running towards me with a piece of paper, and he was saying, "Where's your husband? I need to talk to you." And I was like, "Well, Blake's not here right now. I can speak like it's fine. What's going on?" And we went into a little office. He pulled her scan up on a screen and said, "Charlee has a brain tumour. We need to do surgery now to relieve the pressure in her brain." So I had to sign a piece of paper saying that they could perform the surgery then and there from just one scan.
One scan. And yeah. I can imagine that in that situation, you don't know where to, is it the right thing I'm doing? Should I be signing this? What's the outcome? The future's so unknown, but you want to help.
Exactly. And I knew that for a doctor to come running and ask me permission to be able to relieve pressure in her brain, it was like it had to be done then and there. Yeah. Otherwise, they would have rescheduled, come and spoke to us and said, "Look, guys, tomorrow we need to do this surgery, explain it a little bit more." So it was...
What was that situation in the moment like for you and Blake?
It was really overwhelming. I was at the hospital by myself because Blake had an appointment of his own for his spine because he broke his back in 2010 when Bodhi was 3 months old.
No.
So we've had quite a few challenges, but we've overcome.
But you overcome them.
And I can remember calling him and giving him the news, and I was like, "This is really awful. I don't want to do it over the phone, but you need to know." And he burst into tears. The bus driver looked at him and said, "What's going on, mate?" And he's like, "I need to get back to the Children's Hospital." The bus driver spoke over the PA and said, "I'm sorry, guys, there's an emergency. We are bypassing all stops until the Children's Hospital."
I just got chills.
Yeah, it was absolutely beautiful on the bus driver himself.
Yes.
But also really awful for Blake to be put in that situation of getting devastating news in a public place, not being able to be there to just be there.
Of course.
Yeah.
And then from that moment onwards, so she had her surgery, how did that change your lives from there? How did your lives change after that?
So the first surgery wasn't too bad. It was just they put these things in called EVDs, which they look like two little straws that go in the head and drain out the extra fluid on the brain. And we were kind of like, okay, we can manage this. Like at first they were external, and then another surgery was booked to put an internal shunt in that remains with her lifelong, and it's like a pressure release valve for her brain.
So she still has that today?
She still has that today, and it's been fine. So yeah, after that surgery, everything was fine. And then during the surgery of putting in the permanent shunt, they managed to get a sample of her tumour, and a neuro doctor pulled us aside and gave us the results and everything else and said, oh, it's a low-grade tumour, like it's okay, like she could go on and live a fulfilling life with this, like it's not like a grade 4 where we've got to blast it with radiation and everything else. I was
that
like,
gave
okay.
you a bit of hope and...
Yeah. I was like, okay, no worries, that's good. Like, we can go home then. And then I said to the neurosurgeon, I was like, well, I've got a text message saying that Charlie has an oncology appointment tomorrow. Do we need to stay for it, or can we go home now that you've just told us that it can be managed without treatment? He told us we could go home. And then something didn't sit right in my gut. And I was like, oh, like, I'm just going to call past oncology and see if, like, I can cancel the appointment or if they really need to see Charlie.
Yeah.
The receptionist there said to me, look, if you've got an oncology appointment, you need to come.
Keep it.
Yep. So we went to the oncology appointment and we spoke to the head of oncology, Dr. Nick, and there was a nurse in the room as well, and they were chatting to us and said, like, look, Charlie's tumour is going to need some treatment because it doesn't grow like a normal grade 1 tumour does. And Blake and I were just like, we don't remember a lot of the rest of the conversation, to be honest.
It's a bit of a blur, I can imagine.
Yeah, it was. So we're like, okay, no worries. And then I don't remember what happened in between all this, but on her second birthday, she had to have another brain surgery. And it was pretty heartbreaking.
On her birthday?
On her birthday, yep.
And this is not what, like, 2-year-olds should be going through on their birthdays.
No, it shouldn't be spent in a hospital bed with nurses bringing you balloons. Like, it's a beautiful touch on the, like, nurse's behalf.
Yeah, very kind.
But a normal 2-year-old should be having a birthday at the park and running around with friends.
Absolutely, and that's what well, I'm hoping that we can do by, thank you for sharing this, because it's these little things that other people might be not so grateful for. Just having a birthday party at 2 years old, and not every kid is able to do that.
Exactly.
And so what were your initial reactions? Like you said, you were obviously speechless and shocked, but when you first found out of the severity of her condition and what you might be having to go through, in the days to come after that surgery on her second birthday. Yeah,
so this is where I was told to stop Googling.
Oh, yeah.
Because Dr. Google is giving me a worst case scenario.
And was it?
It wasn't for Charlie, thank goodness.
Yeah.
But for many children it can be. But yeah, when you read up about the type of tumour Charlie has and the life expectancy of someone with that type of tumour, and the fact that we were still in the unknown because the doctors couldn't quite find a treatment that would stop it from growing, it was, it's pretty devastating.
Yeah.
Like having to think about your future and the possibility of your child not being in it.
That's it. And very daunting. And what have been, I guess now, some of the biggest challenges that you've faced, Sharnee, as a family? What kind of challenges have you gone through?
So, given Charlie's diagnosis, we were told that she wasn't allowed to leave 100 k's of the hospital, of Perth City. We live in Kalgoorlie. That's 700 k's away.
Wow.
So
you had to completely shift your life and move then and there.
Yep. So Blake and Bodie went back, packed up the house, and Charlie and I stayed at Ronald McDonald House. We lived there for a good 8 weeks.
Oh, wow, okay.
And then it come to November. No, it would have been a little bit after that. near Christmas time. And I said to Blake, like, we're in this for the long haul. Let's go and find a rental so that we can have some normality back, have a home and...
A home in the Perth metro area.
Yeah.
And start adjusting.
Yeah, start adjusting to what our new life is. Like, Bodhi needs stability as well.
How old was Bodhi at the time?
So at the time, Bodhi was 6.
6, yeah.
Yeah.
So a little kid also, needing his mum and dad and...
Yeah. And unfortunately, because of the situation, he was forced to grow up.
Yeah, very quickly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mature
Which
very
he's
quick.
thrived in.
And how did you find Ronald McDonald House? It's really good to know that they've got that available for families that go through, unexpected things happening.
It was an absolute lifesaver. Like, the staff are so friendly. Like, it gave you that security blanket back.
Mm-hmm. And probably made you feel like you weren't alone at a time where you feel very lonely.
Yep. You create so many relationships with other parents that are in, like, not the same situation, but very similar.
But that would have given you, I can imagine, some comfort at the time, the comfort that you needed.
Yes.
And how's this journey now impacted your day-to-day life, Sharnee,
So day-to-day, Charlie had a major brain surgery in 2017, and from that surgery, it affected her hormone levels and her metabolic health. Mm-hmm. So she really struggles with her fatigue, her muscle endurance, her weight, her hunger control. Therefore, she is not a small child anymore. She is quite a large child. And she's had many falls. She's broken 2 femurs, or both her femurs on each side, and her right ankle. Therefore, that sets back her mobility by like another year. So getting her up and walking and independent is quite challenging. So navigating parks, restaurants, anything out in the community is really tricky. She needs to use her wheelchair because she fatigues so quickly. Pushing her to gain the strength in her muscles through physiotherapy, she loves it. We don't want it to become a chore. So it's that real fine balance of how much to push her so that it's not a chore for her, but she's still able to gain the strength to be able to gain that mobility back.
Yes, I know what you mean, because it's probably that balance of knowing, okay, we really want to make sure you excel as much as possible, but also not pushing her and making her hate it.
Exactly.
Because you don't want her to be unhappy and then not try.
Exactly, because as soon as they're unhappy and see it as a chore, they're like, nah, I'm not doing it. Yeah. Where it's still fun for her. She still enjoys it. And that's why, like, we structure our life and what we do with our children around things that she can do, but are also a little bit challenging. Like going camping, like that is not an easy task, but we make it happen. It is challenging for her, but she gives it a go because she gets so much joy out of it.
And yeah, that's the most important thing. The fact that she keeps pushing herself and, testing her limits and going and striving to do better is what's giving her the confidence to keep going.
Yeah, and proving to herself that she can do it. Like, it doesn't have to hold her back. Like, with the right supports in place, she can do whatever she wants.
Oh, she can. And she's the most determined little girl. I remember the first time I met Charlie, she was not shy at all. She had a massive smile on her face. I know she'd just seen a brand new kitchen, but she was proud to show off her family, her Care Bear collection. Yes. She was the most extroverted, outgoing girl. And, I think that's such a testament to who she has as parents as well, how you've raised her and the love you've obviously given her is beautiful.
Yes.
Like you said, I know, like little tasks, just going to the park can be a challenge, or going to restaurants, like you said, that other people don't realise, or even going camping, like you said. But are there any really memorable moments or achievements, Sharnee, that have given you a lot of hope that you remember that Charlie's achieved?
So recently, this year in March, Charlie went through a program at the hospital which was intensive therapy. Our goal for this therapy was for Charlie to be able to do a step to be able to get into the caravan.
A step,
because she could not get into a caravan. Like, she could not physically step up because of her vision, her depth perception, and also her muscle fatigue and weakness. By the end of the 6 weeks, Charlie was doing 4 steps.
Wow, 4 steps in 6 weeks.
Yep. Yeah.
So that's a lot more than the one step you'd aimed for.
It was a lot more. So that just meant, like, because we went to Exmouth in May,
Oh, nice.
it just meant that holiday, it took away that fear for her. It gave her the excitement. It gave her the proudness of, yes, I can do this. Like, it's only 2 steps. I can do 4.
Yes.
Like, it was amazing.
That's so good.
Yeah.
And what, I guess, does a typical day look like for you and Charlee, or for you and your family? Like, from the morning when you wake up, what is a typical day for you like?
Charlee is a very early riser.
Oh, is she? Yeah, of course.
Very, very early.
Yeah.
So she gets up.
Yes.
And she watches her iPad or reads a book until it's a decent time.
Yes, yeah.
And then I get up. I help her make her breakfast because she likes to be independent and attempt to make her breakfast herself now. She helps me with her medication. Mm-hmm. She knows what she has to take and what she doesn't. And I just...
Has she always had that independence, like from the beginning, or is it something that she's only recently had?
Yeah, just recently. She's over probably the past 12 months, give or take. She's really, like, wanting to become independent. She's telling me, no, Mum, I'm a big girl. I can do this.
That's
like,
great.
It's really good. She's got that confidence back. So, yeah, I help her with her morning breakfast routine and everything else. I assist her with getting dressed. Showering, she needs a lot more assistance just because of accessibility and falls and things like that. So I am quite hands-on in that approach.
Yes. Yeah.
And then she goes to school. She has a lovely day at school.
Yeah.
She has an amazing EA and teachers around her. She has amazing friends around her.
That's wonderful.
It is absolutely beautiful. And then, she comes home. She has her afternoon tea. She goes and does her cheerleading or has friends over. Does lots of baking in her kitchen with her friends, every day.
And how has the school system been? Like, do you know, have you found that there's been a lot of support at in schools for kids like Charlee and, people that might be suffering from disabilities? Is it something you're quite happy with, or do you want to see any change there?
So for myself and for Charlee, we have been fortunate enough that if we've had an issue or we've seen a barrier, we've approached the school and they've taken away that barrier. They've put things in place to make it better for Charlee and more enjoyable. We personally have not had an issue with the schooling.
Okay.
I have heard with some families schooling can be quite challenging for the children, but for Charlee herself, it's been really good. Her school has been amazing.
That's great to hear, yeah, because I from the parents that I've spoken to, sometimes the schools and the feedback that I've gotten is that it can be a little bit, not integrated enough for those that might have special needs and, not enough integration and support for them as well, which can, I think, over time have a bit of a negative effect on the kids when really they just need to be treated like the normal kids that they are.
Yes.
And given the same opportunities, the same attention and inclusion.
Exactly. Charlee struggled last year with a similar thing. Like, she would say, my friends aren't playing with me. They're all going places that I can't access. So we approached the school and said, look, guys, this is what's going on. How can we make this better? And they sat with us. We brainstormed, the EA, the teacher, we all brainstormed, and we come up with a solution that this year she has absolutely loved it. She does her craft table. All her friends come and see her. Like, it's beautiful.
And I think that's also really important. Like you said, you just went there and approached the teachers.
Yeah.
I think more parents need to know that they can do that.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to ask.
Yeah.
And just voice your opinion.
Yeah. Otherwise, the school has no idea.
They have no idea.
Like, especially the deputies that are in charge of making all these things happen, they're up in the office. They're not out, like, walking around at recess and lunch and seeing what's going on. So they really have no idea.
Yeah.
You do need to go and say, hey, guys, this is happening. How can we make it better?
Yeah, and I think that's the whole thing of parents not wanting to ask for help, whether it be from friends, family, or even the school teachers not wanting to say, hey, I think we need a little bit of change here, a bit of help here. But it's great to hear that, hopefully.
Don't be afraid to ask for help. It's okay to ask for help.
It's not a weakness, right?
It's not. You live the most challenging of lives. Like, you need the help.
You need the help. That's right. And there are so many people out there, I think, that are willing to help and want to help, but they might just not know the first step to take. But if all we need to do is speak it, say, this is what I think we should change. If we can just implement this one small thing, it can make such a big difference in that child's life. What kind of, I guess, support, that's great, that you've got the support of the school, amazing. What other sort of support systems have been really helpful to you and Blake and to your family during the time?
Our family, our friends.
Family,
they have played a absolutely incredible role in our journey. Without them, we wouldn't be the strong unit that we are. It's the saying of it takes a village to raise a family. It really does. Yeah. Especially in our case, like my mum and my sister, if Blake and I were busy with Charlie at the hospital, they would take over everything for Bodhi and keep things as normal as possible for Bodhi. It's just friends would drop off meals, it's just like real simple things like friends would say to me, oh, look, I'm going to have Charlie over for a play date. And I'm like, oh, okay, I'll come. And they're like, no, I'm having Charlie for a play date. You're going to do whatever, whatever you want. It's little things like that normal parents don't really say normal parents. Yes, it's probably the wrong term.
No, but I know what you mean.
They don't really think of. They can just drop their kids off and know that everything's okay.
Exactly, It's those little day-to-day things that a lot of people take for granted.
Yeah.
And, that's the thing. Just taking, Charlie off your hands for an hour or two not only gives you, say, a bit of time in the house to have a bit of time for yourself or clean or do whatever you need to do, but also gives a bit of variety to Charlie as well. Yeah. Gets her out of the house and excited to do something.
It gives her that independence of, I don't need mum around. I can do this. I can be a normal kid.
That's right. And how do you find the strength to kind of go through the tough times? Where do you get your strength from?
Charlie and humour.
Humour.
A lot of humour.
Yeah.
I know that, the doctors and nurses sometimes look at us really oddly because at times when we shouldn't be laughing, we are, because it's just you either laugh or cry, don't you?
Yeah, you laugh or cry. I was just thinking that. That's it. Yeah, you either laugh or cry.
Yeah.
So you kind of see the light in things and don't take things so seriously sometimes.
No, definitely not.
And realise there is always people that are going through harder things than yourself.
Exactly, yes.
I think that's something we've got to remember as well, and that these kids are a blessing.
They are.
And like you said, Charlie, she gives you strength. And sometimes I'm sure seeing how has your perspective on life changed, seeing the world through Charlie's eyes?
Definitely. Definitely. Anything is possible. You put your mind to it, you can make the changes. Something that would be really simple and irritating for most people, you just look at her and go nah, this is nothing. We've got this. We can make this happen.
Yeah, she gives you a lot of strength, a lot of determination.
Yep.
Yeah. And what kind of resources or support systems do you wish were more accessible to people, maybe going through similar situations to yourself? Is there anything that you found has really helped you that you wish was a bit more readily available to other people that might help them? Or is there changes that you'd like to see in sort of other support systems out there in Perth?
Yeah, so when Charlie was first diagnosed, we had in-home daycare through Wansley, which was really, really good.
So they would come to your house?
A childcare carer would come to the house, be paid through Wansley. It was really good. It was one day a week. It was meant to be respite for myself. But the challenges that come with that was it wasn't enough for me to be able to go back to work. I still had to pay for this respite, so financially it was quite a struggle. And it was also isolating for Charlie. She just still had to be at home.
Yeah, she had to be at home.
She couldn't interact with the other children, which at that age of 2, that's when they're learning all their social skills. And she found even to this day we're still trying to teach her how to socialise with children of her own age because she's been around adults so much.
That's right.
The childcare system was really tricky.
At the beginning,
Yeah, at the beginning. And then once she went to school, Like, she was supported in school. I went back to work and it's been great. But those early years, there does need to be some sort of, I don't know,
somewhere they can go, I guess, where they're with other little kids, just like you go to a normal daycare, you know?
Exactly, but still have that support to be able to help with their complexities.
Yes. Yeah, I know what you mean. So still have, that's right, still have people there who can help and give them that one-on-one time and that special support that they need. But them still be around learning skills and learning to play with other kids, which is what they want to do.
Yeah. And I know that for many children, like, their immune systems, it plays a big part in the reason why that doesn't happen. But surely there's a way we can navigate it. Like, children go to the park, they go to restaurants, they go to the shopping centre.
That's right.
And there's other kids there.
Yeah, you're never going to have it completely controlled everywhere, and that's not how it should be anyway. Yeah. And you said it was hard for you to go back to work, or it was hard. Yeah. So how's your life changed in that aspect? Like, do you wish the government was doing more for mums or dads that have kids with special needs? Yeah, definitely. How has your life changed there?
Yeah, there definitely needs to be. At the moment, they're fighting for super to be paid with the carers payment. I 100% agree with that. There's many people that are not able to go back to work because they do not have the supports. So therefore, they're not getting a super. What are they going to retire on?
That's right.
Like,
little things like that, and it's not fair when you need it as well, just as much as everyone else, if really not more.
Yeah. Like, Blake ended up having to go FIFO because we lost my income. We changed towns. He couldn't find work locally that was going to be able to pay our bills. So he had to go work FIFO to make up both the incomes. And it's only been recently that I've been able to go back to work, that I've been able to make up that income, that he's been able to drop down to an even time roster, which has helped with our family time. But he's missed a big chunk of both the kids' younger lives that he's never going to get back, which it's really hard.
Yeah, and if you had maybe some more support there financially, that would have helped a lot in the beginning.
Yeah.
It's almost like something shouldn't have to give, you know? It's like you either have to give on the money side of things, a wage, or, like you said, Blake had to give on family time, which is really hard. And so how's the sort of Build Now Foundation made a bit of a difference, or a difference in your lives or in Charlie's life? You know?
Oh, it's been incredible. Like, the joy, the independence that the kitchen has brought to Charlee, it's inspiring.
So I know she loves to cook. She loves cooking.
She loves it. But it's not just the kitchen. It's the fact of she wants to have friends over. The friends want to come and get involved with her. It's something that an able-bodied child can do, as well as Charlee. Like, and there's no difference. Yeah. It's just two kids cooking.
Yes, that's right.
Whereas,
exactly.
Like, we go to the park and it's, Charlee, you can't go down the slide. Charlee, I can't get you on the playground. Where all her friends are doing it, she's just sitting there watching. Yeah. Where the kitchen, it brings that inclusivity.
Yeah, it brings that, and it makes her feel like, which she is, but a normal kid.
Yes.
And, you know, gets her excited about having everyone over.
Yeah.
But so I know it was because I've seen it, and it's an amazing kitchen, better than my own kitchen that Charlie's got
better
outside.
Than my kitchen.
So it was harder for her to access the kitchen inside, right, of the house, whereas this one's been specifically designed to her. It's got the beautiful big bench top. So that's really helped her feel. I think what's important is, and why I love the Build Now Foundation and what they're doing, is because these kids that are suffering from, you know, illnesses and disabilities do spend so much more time at home than, say, you know, a regular child.
Yep.
So it's about sort of making their environment feel as having a comfortable environment and making them feel as happy at home as possible, as they possibly can.
Yeah.
So to bring that happiness now inside her home, give her something to look forward to when she comes home from school. Like you said, have kids come over and cook and her friends and love it around there. There's nothing better.
There's nothing better. I can remember one of the days Steve was over with the kitchen and everything, and he was saying that he does these projects for disadvantaged children. It left like a bit of a lump in my throat because I had never looked at it from that point. I'd never seen, or I'd never put disadvantage and Charlee side by side. And I was like, he is 100% right. Like, these kids, like, they do have so many disadvantages, and he's just creating a fair playing field, which is incredible.
That's right. Yeah. And she's just so inspiring. She's amazing. And that's what the thing, like you said, she can do things and we can all do them. You know, if Charlie can do it, so can we. And we've got to, look at her for inspiration.
Yeah.
And I know that she also, I just want to hear a bit more about the experience here, was a telethon kid this year.
She
Chosen
was.
to be one of the telethon kids.
She was. And now I'm like, how are we going to keep this stardom up?
Yeah, that's right. How are we going to keep topping
She's had
this?
an incredible year, like from the eye rehab program, learning how to step.
So what was the eye rehab program? Just tell me about that.
At the Perth Children's Hospital. That was the 6-week intensive therapy that made her accomplish her stepping goal.
Okay.
Which was incredible. So over 6 weeks, she spent 4 days up there out of the whole week.
Wow, 4 days a week?
Yeah.
Was that after school?
No, so she had like 6 weeks off school. But the school was incredible about it.
That's wonderful. Yeah, awesome.
Yeah. So, and the goals and the accomplishments that she made from that are absolutely incredible. So, yeah, she's had that, and then we went to Exmouth, and then she had her kitchen reveal.
Goodness.
And now she's just had telethon and she's like, what's next, Mum?
She's like, what's next? Yeah.
I don't know, love. I'm tired. Let's just take a moment.
Christmas is next. But it just goes to show, she's so confident and she's just like ready for anything, vivacious, lots of energy. Was it like a big, how do you think it's like gained her confidence being the telethon kid of the year? And
she is like remarkable. So not many people would have seen, but before each interview or during each little interview or photo shoot that she had to have done, she would voice that she was very, very nervous and she couldn't do it. I'm so nervous. Like, I can't do this, Mum. And we would positive reinforcement. Yes, you can. You've done it before. You're amazing. As soon as that camera come on, flick.
Yeah, she should be an actress.
Owned it.
I would have never thought that she was nervous at all.
No.
But that just, I saw something once and it really hit, someone actually told me this, I didn't see it, but they were like, it's always good to feel a little bit of nerves sometimes before you do something because it shows that you're about to give a lot of yourself and that you really care.
Yes.
If you have absolutely no nervousness or no fear, it's always better to feel that, and that's beautiful that she did. She has the exact same emotions and feelings that we all do.
She does, yes.
So we found really since starting the Build Now Foundation is that there are so many people out there, and I see it firsthand and hear about it all the time, that do want to get involved and help, which is so good to see in any way, but they sometimes just don't know where to start. Like, yes, of course, there's so many ways that you can donate financially to things. You can go online and pick something and pay money, and that's easy. But are there any ways that you would think that people can help families like yours in similar situations?
Just have a chat. Be an ear. Like, sometimes that's all that people want, like to be treated as normal, not to be treated as, that's Charlie's mum over there, or just be like, hey, I'm Sharnee, like, let's go have coffee. Like, and that in itself gives you normality. It gives you something away from being a disability mum.
That's right,
and then for the children, a simple thing of a conversation as well. Like, that's all they want. Like, everyone wants to communicate. And that's all these kids want as well. They want to be seen. They want to be heard.
That's it. And that's it. Time.
Yeah.
And kindness and showing someone, just treating them like they're normal. That's so true.
Exactly. Hold their hand, play a game, throw the ball. Like, that's sometimes more beneficial than donating money.
No, that's right. Yeah. And how can the community, I guess, as a whole in WA better understand or support children with disabilities or terminal illnesses? I know doing things like this is why I love it, because we're spreading awareness. But and we are so lucky to live in Perth. Like, I do feel like, charities like Telethon really spread awareness. But is there any other ways the community you think could understand it a little bit better?
Similar to this, start the conversation. Don't be afraid to ask, hey, how can I help? Like, it's as simple as that. Hey, let's go for coffee. Like, it's simple things.
Do you think that, like, also there's sometimes a fear that people want to help but they don't know, and not, they don't know how to, say, approach you and come up and ask a little bit more about Charlie and what you're going through. It's almost like there's a stigma, and it's like, I don't want to upset you, I don't want to offend you, but I would like to talk to you, but they don't know how to just approach just a simple conversation about it.
And it is really hard. And I was exactly the same before Charlie. Like, I didn't know how to communicate with these people. I didn't want to offend them by saying the wrong thing. But I think you've also got to remember that in any conversation you can say the wrong thing.
Yeah.
So just have the conversation. Be brave.
Yeah.
And, a lot of, like, disability parents walk around with a big wall up because they feel like they have to, because they have to protect their child from the big bad world. Let's break down that wall and, like, be like, hey, like, we just want to have a chat. Let's get to know Charlie a bit more. How can I better interact with her? Like,
and actually know a little bit more about her diagnosis and how it's changed her life, and just like understanding and talking about it a bit more, I think will change the mentality around all of this and just give people more education.
And then it will set up the next generation for it to just become normality.
That's right.
It's just like, hey, that's Charlie. Let's go have a chat with Charlie. Like,
I know. And one thing I definitely know, I'm a little bit older now, but I can't remember, we weren't taught, you talked about drugs at school and other things and not to do bad things and how to be a good person, but there wasn't much education on disabilities. Kids living with disabilities, there really isn't.
No, there really isn't. And it does have to come from home, because it's not going to come from the education system. It does have to come from home, of parents being like, hey, you just like go and chat to them like they're Miss May over there. Like,
and saying, is there anyone in your year? Why don't you go talk to her? Why don't you ask him or her to come sit with you, have lunch? It's little, I think, things that's right as parents need to do.
Yeah. That's
so true. And what are some things you wish people maybe knew about, like a sort of similar question, but about Charlie and your journey? Is there things that...
I don't know. Charlie's a pretty open book.
Yeah.
She'll tell you her life story.
She will, that's it. She will.
Literally, there are no secrets in our house.
No, that's right. I think I found out about her so much. She showed me her dog the first day I met her Care Bear collection, which I loved, which was the most amazing Care Bear collection I've ever seen in my life.
And it's grown again because she's just had a birthday.
Oh, my goodness. And how old is she now?
So she's 10 now.
Oh, wow. Oh, how nice. Yeah, and it's grown. She's got more teddies.
Yes.
Does she still keep them in the kitchen or no?
No, at the moment they're packed away because we have the home renovations going on. So I have like 4 big boxes of just Care Bears.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, that's funny. And how can we change, do you think, Sharnee, the perceptions and encourage more empathy and kindness towards children with special needs? Like starting at home, I guess.
Yeah, it would be starting at home with the parents having the conversation with other children of being like, just go and say hello, go and throw the ball, like, interact.
Interacting with them, exactly. Yeah. And is there any sort of message you would like to share with others that are going through similar situations? If there's any parents out here listening to this that are at the beginning of their journey, is there anything you'd like to share?
Don't be afraid to ask for help.
Yeah.
That's, because you're going to need it.
Yeah.
You really do. You need the support system around you to make it as less challenging as possible, because it is going to be challenging and you are going to need the help. So you need to ask for it, because otherwise people aren't going to know. They're not going to know unless you say, hey, can you do me up a week's worth of meals because I have a week's worth of appointments.
I think people just see it as a bit of a, like, why people are scared to ask for help. Do you know what? Do you know why?
Proud. They don't want to admit defeat. They don't want
struggling
to, and they don't want to be seen as bad parents, which they are far from. But as soon as it's that stigma, as soon as you say, I need help, it's like, well, what have you done to cause yourself needing help?
Yeah, that's so true.
Yeah.
Whereas there's nothing. They're just
nothing.
Yeah, that's it. They just need help. And I think if there's one thing we can leave a lot of people with today, it's in anything in life, ask for help.
Yeah.
Because people are willing to give it. And it's like that old saying, you can't help others or be the best version of your, you can't help your kids before you help yourself.
Exactly.
Before you put yourself first, and then you'll be able to be the best mum or the best dad for your kids.
You can't pour from an empty cup.
That's right, exactly. Oh, thank you so much, Sharnee. I appreciate it. I think today's been so good, like sharing all your insights and your journey. So much for sharing your story. It is so inspiring.
Thanks for having me.
That's okay. Your courage, your resilience is, like I said, truly inspiring. And your experiences offer valuable insights to how we can all be more supportive and more compassionate towards these kids. To everyone listening, if you're moved by what you've heard today and would like to get involved or learn more about how you could help, please visit the Build Now Foundation's website, because every bit of support makes a difference. Thank you so much for tuning in. We look forward to sharing more stories that motivate and inspire, because together we can help build a better world for these incredible, beautiful kids and their families. So thank you.
Thank you.